Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to North American APL. This is Auzom Premier League Season 2, Week 4, brought to you by the good people at Auzom. Myself, Toffees, my partner in crime to my right, Little Fuzzy Seal, and of course our eye in the sky, Skyline. Last game was a doozy. We thought maybe Water Circle ended up not being that way. Walk me through what you expect to see happening this time around.
Well, the flight plan that we're getting, Toffee, is northwest to southeast. It allows a lot of people to essentially do what they want. And with military island being cut out, that actually makes it very easy for a team. If they want to go there, grab a car and go south. It probably won't be that hard. So this is probably the flight plan that allows for the most surface area of the island to be grabbed. This means that probably not so many early game fighting, but also on the flip side of that, it probably means a lot of teams being able to do the exact early game strats that they want safely. So I think that this game, unless we get a very, very silly, like a military zone or something, I think it's going to be just a pretty good showing of the skill these guys will all bring to the table today.
Absolutely. And so nobody at military right now. Frolicker looks like he may consider heading down there. Chappie as well. Freck's grabbing a little bit off of the small three-house congregation. That said, though, and that's what we talk about here, as you said, everyone has access. So talk to me a little bit about when we talk about drops from pro teams. They all have a favored spot. Do most of these teams have a second and third? How do they plan for the deviation of planes inherent inside of PUBG?
I've seen a couple of methods. I've seen people that will literally just set people's perspectives up and count the teams that are dropping out of the plane and be like, okay, this guy dropped, this guy dropped. That means that we can go here. Or you'll have situations where people will just have just different places like dropping. Okay, so Vernia's on the flight plan. Let's go here and said, okay, this place is the flight plan. Let's just go for scavenging and trash looting instead. There's usually like a tier list that teams will create and then drop based on that. So that way, even if they don't get their first or second favorite spot, they will always have a plan going in. But before we talk too far, Toffees, we got the thing that must not be named. We got the water got the water military circle. So
Hey, what did I say in the last match, okay? You've got Toffee's Karma. It's not going to be a pure water circle. And if it does have water in the circle, it's going to be like a cool bridge fight or something like that. Because that's just the karma that I'm bringing to this match. That's what I believe. Now, speaking of bringing something, Drassel driving through to the bridge, got himself a 3-seater. Looks like he wants to get over there. Probably going to go ahead and hit up some Novo or some military. Still no one on the island.
Yeah, it looks like Drass will be the first man to even set foot on it, and the teams that get there early will be the ones that are probably in a better spot. I'm looking at the guys near Milton, look at the guys near Farm. Already, one guy from Render, I will never get that name right, I am sorry. He is with his teammates making his way south. This is a really good play to be doing this, and actually, Drassel is not going to be able to be with Vape, his teammate over here. Hopefully they don't get caught out in the open by Render, because it is a 2v1 if Drassel gets caught out here.
Yeah, Drassel, one of those players who probably doesn't mind. I don't want to say doesn't mind, but he's one of those. There's players out there who are like, you know what, 2v1, that's fine with me. So that is one of those situations where Drassel will probably be totally okay with it, but I don't think he's fine. Or going to get caught out. There's a whole lot of space on Military Island. There's a couple of teams making their way over there, but all of them are tentative because none of them have their entire squads, with the exception of Frolicker and his crew. I think that they do have all four crossing over the bridge right now. So they should be, that's 3. I don't know where Chappie went to. But everyone else is coming across this bridge. So we see there's 3 different kinds of strategy, right? When this circle happens, you have the island rushers, the bridge holders, and the long swimmers. And that's what we're going to see sort of how this one develops. I don't see Evil Geniuses isn't in this match, so we might not see anybody swimming across the moat. But there are teams like that that really do favor sort of the slow progression to island. And you laugh, but at the end of the day, if it works, right? Vin Diesel, the immortal Vin Diesel, said it doesn't ask any racer, any real racer. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. So it doesn't matter if it's 1 kill or 20. Really, in the grand scheme of things, winning is winning.
That's very inspirational. Thank you, Vin Diesel.
No problem.
So we just saw something interesting, though, that we saw Wooly and his crew doing. That's something of a very early bridge camp. I think only 1 or 2 teams have made it across that bridge, which means that anyone who goes over here is going to have a couple of bridge campers already. Also, another fact to bring up, whenever we get a military circle in a plane that does not let you drop military, it speeds up the pace of the game a little bit. At least it forces movement earlier on. So a lot of the groups that we see over here, yeah, Shek Shooter has himself a scar. What are the attachments on it? Do you have a foregrip? Do you have a scope? Do you have everything that you need? The answer to a lot of guys, probably no.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. A late game water circle can be boring and disappointing because of the fact that everyone's swimming. Early game water circles, though, are the exact opposite, because out of the second circle, which is generally huge, we only have about 63-ish% of the circle that's actually playable. So you're right, you see a lot of action early on, a lot of aggressive posturing for position. So early game water circles can be very exciting for us, probably not for the players so much.
Either way, you probably just there's a lot of expletives that are probably being shouted out here. But actually, looking at this Wooly with leading the rest of his team, going away from that bridge camp, it looks like they actually want a secure spot on this side of the bridge sooner rather than later, which is a pretty good spot. Over here, though, Totality's flying Shek Shooter. Looks like not too much damage going on. Both these guys look like they're kind of missing scopes right now.
Yeah, Envious going to go ahead and scout out some spots out here, get himself a nice grab up by Pride Rock 2.0. It's a good spot. It's actually climbable with the vaulting. You can get up there without having to land on the beach. So if that's what he wants to do, Pride Rock 1.0 obviously over by the prison. This one equally strong now that you can climb the cliffs a little bit better. Totality making a boat rotation. Envious sees them, and just like Czech was taking fire, Jesse decides he's going to take a couple of pot shots at someone else. That's a tough shot. The boat, everybody knows, the one thing about water is it really messes up your sort of depth perception of just how far away somebody can be. So one of the harder things to do is snipe somebody more than 300 meters out in the water.
And that's without them bobbing and weaving left and right.
Yeah.
Looking over here, though, we have quite a few squads that have claimed some out of territory on the military island. You see right here, winners of game 1, Ignite, making the way over here with a boat. Nova, this has happened 2 weeks in a row now. Lochner has crashed a bike to... Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness, Nova.
I don't know if... I mean, the fact that they're not even moving maybe says that they're just giving up. I don't know where the rest of the team is. They are out here in the middle of nowhere. Richie's already in a car. He's headed down that way. He's got plenty of time.
Sidecar. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wait, what? Why is that? Huh?
It's you've heard of school spirit. This is a Vangal spirit. It is something that exists to get everybody excited. So sometimes the UAZ sets up its own roadblock. Richie gonna now finally cross the bridge. Should we get there in time to res? No. They're taking fire.
No.
Adam Dids has found them out there crawling around in the open. It looks like he's gonna go for some free kills as he finishes off. The driver,
Lochinarb, I think.
Yeah, well,
the
it's
driver's
his fault
down.
that they're there, right? So
yeah, a little bit of karma striking here. Looks like Nerfme will be able to get revived in his apartment, just barely not having vision of him. Richie pulling up. Sidecar, don't die, Nerf. Oh, don't hit him! Oh.
Next level. So Nerf is just barely going to get res. That said, they immediately start taking shots at the bike to keep them from getting away and let them know that they are watching. Richie, is putting his life at risk to come save a friend. You got to respect that.
Well, last time they didn't work for Nova, so hopefully they pay for get some good karma this time around. But look at this, Uncivil's way to the west, trying to get a flank on this little haystack.
Very clean, but he's working with that 4X. He does have the shot. Smoke's gonna come out. Now he immediately turns to the bike. He knows where the bike is. So he tries to put a couple shots out there, see if maybe he can take the tire out with a good shot. Goes up to the tower here, and he's gonna catch him as they run away. And this he should be able to get this pick. They're very, very open. Uncivil's not happy with the misses right now.
It looks like Nova has found a bit of a trench line they can maneuver through. Richie has half his body currently in cover. Yeah, they can play off of this with the smoke.
Uncivils is kicking himself for this. He's yelling on comms right now. Got him super low, down to 3/4 of his health gone. But it's just not going to be enough.
The problem there, though, is that Nerfme did not make that run with Richie, which means that there's another player that we saw how many misses there were. There was a lot of gunfire, and now Uncivils probably has a better idea of how to lead these shots. Nerf, though, just sitting here. Maybe Uncivils will go away. Either way, though, Nova landing and Sev being this far north, they should have had more loot. They should have been in a decent spot to actually play late game at all. Not at all now. They've lost a player. They're using a lot of time. Oh! Mossy Ignite, making the way here, getting gunned down from Frolicker in the compound.
Yeah, great job by those guys there. They lock him in. Mossy going to try to crawl back and just buy some time. And we'll check back in with the Nova storyline later. But as of now, that's really just not the meat and potatoes of what's going on. We've got such a good military island rotations. Lots of people already holding their positions. Mossy's team is going to try to get to him slowly around the outside. EU in a very good hold spot over. They can kill everybody coming out of the water, the late game swimmers. But really it comes down to, is Frolicker and his team going to be able to sort of get out there and finish off Mossy? Mossy crawls down, decides to get a little bit lower, so if he's not resable, at least they're not going to get free loot out of it.
It looks like Light Show is rushing as fast as he can over here to get his teammate, but with how much water is in play and how much damage he's taken already, I don't think he can get to him. Steeler actually going to the boat. Is he going to try and use this to get to his teammate? He might make it in time with a boat.
Yeah, the boat could potentially work here as long as he has to go around the rock, but he should be okay. Just going to come to ground and get Mossy up. Mossy dropping low, though. It doesn't look like Frolicker and the boys are coming out. They're content to stay there, and they calls him off. He tells them it's not going to work, so CeeLo turns and drives away. I still think he could have pulled it off, man.
Maybe. I'm not sure. There's a couple of reasons. Maybe worried about players going up using Mossy as bait. Maybe not even being able to walk on terrain that steep.
Oh, it's possible.
Either way, he will be fed to the fishies down below.
Yeah, I think the big fear was, does Frolicker come out and try to finish the job? And if he does, it's an easy wipe out of the rest of the team. So
yeah, and he was going to, so it was a good call.
So there you go. Now we'll jump over to see Pat Caps hiding out. Team 11 rotating. Nova has made it. Well, they're not made it. I'd say they're crossing the circle. They're going over Potato Mountain right now as they chase Shark. Nice shot, though. Shark rolls the Jeep and manages to land on his feet, but taking tons of fire from Landum. Not enough. No tires are taken out, so Shark OW will continue with his push, smoking, to let everybody know where he's been.
UAZ at 1/4 HP definitely is going to be ditching that at the first moment possible. The Shrink is just about finishing up. Well, no one wants buggies, okay? The Shrink just about finishing up. It looks like a couple of guys, 2 squads making their way for Eastern Bridge, but the new zone, oh, this is looking a little bit familiar. It's favoring the west side, not
MLG
cutting out a lot of water, but still a lot in play.
So Ox going to start to open fire as Sharp tries to get across the bridge, takes a ton of damage. Ox will knock him as he now pushes farther in to join up with the rest of his team. Here comes Uncivils. He's half health, but he is blazing in the Dacia. Decides to come through, and that'll get the res. He's going to find a good position over there safely, able to get everybody back up. But I don't think anyone else is going to be pushing this side of the bridge. So 12 should be relatively comfortable. Pat Caps is there, but it's going to take a while till they come across.
Ooh, MLGB just cresting this hill just in time to see MLGB leave. This is pretty good information showing that there will be players moving across the bridge at the same time. They're, to my scoping these guys up, probably shouldn't take any shots here. They want to use MLGB as bait to see if the bridge is being camped.
It's a good call, and that's what they'll do. So Tamai keeps an eye on them as they try to make their transition. MLGB doesn't look like they're interested in crossing. MLGB is playing a dangerous game. They're going to hold this side of the bridge inside the circle. And now there is a 10 to 15% chance that they get the next circle, right? Deviations aren't guaranteed to be in the middle. If it is on this side, Ferry Pier or anywhere else, they're saying everyone else probably went to military because of that first circle. We saw this happen Monday night in a game that I got to cover. The circle did end up on this side, and all of the military teams just got sliced and diced trying to make their way back across.
Looking over here, though, Adam Dids back on the mainland military. If you aren't in a good spot already, chances are you're not going to find one. There's still 1 or 2 compounds that are empty, but the problem is that with how much open terrain is here on the western side, if you try to make a play and go for these compounds and it is occupied, you are going to die. There is not enough cover to safely drive past any of these spots.
Yeah, if you try to push a compound like Adam did, you often get shot off of it. Fortunately for him, he had a motorcycle, was able to keep speed up and found himself a place to hide out here. Not the optimal house, but not a bad house. It's all open around. You actually can push the wall inside of the small divot on the side of the road when it comes to transition point. So not a terrible place to be, but like you said, there's just nothing available. The real estate market is sold out. Coastal property is at a premium.
Let's see a crate over here in the water. It's going to be landing here. I'm not sure if someone's going to get this, but either way, it will be a M24 and an 8X. A very, very boring crate, but pretty good one too.
You say boring, I say death dealing. This is not a terrible crate if you can get to landfall. So what we might see is, I don't know, there's not a lot of people in boats right now. So the only way I think that gets picked up is if we see transitions back to the mainland a little bit later. Quinn hiding behind a ravine. Everybody just very slow playing. This is like when you don't want a mermaid, but you don't want to try to take a compound. Hide behind the edge of the hill.
Yeah, and just look at the terrain ahead of them. Very, very flat terrain, and players in these compounds. They really have no cover besides thin trees ahead of them and these rocks right here. It's going to be very hard to actually move up from this for the Pecadores. And the story's the same for a lot of people here. Actually, I'm BK, literally sitting on this little island away from the coastline, made just for the purpose of just shooting Envy. But like you mentioned earlier, it's so hard to hit those moving boats at long range.
Yeah, but I mean, why not take shots, right? Like, it's one of those things. Like, that's why you pull out the sniper rifle and take 2 fires because, hey, you maybe get the headshot, and then you get on the highlight reel and make YouTube videos. Let's jump over to Wildcard. It looks like they got a little bit of action going. Wildcard versus MLGB is like the story of the week. These 2 teams seem to hate each other or just think alike. I can't quite figure it out. That said, we are going to jump around here as it looks like Kick's going to get some couple of good shots, but all he's got is a tree and a hill. So they got to play very careful. The advantage right now does go to MLGB in the context of cover. That said, they're all locked into one spot, so WC can spread out and try to hit them from 2 sides.
All locked into one spot besides Steezy BB, who's over here in the Wizard Tower on the far south side. This will lock down a lot of flanking opportunities from Wildcard.
Tamai does go down. He tried to make a push, ends up getting caught by Biggie, who was on the outside. They didn't expect him to be hiding by the RV. So that'll be the end of Tamai as he's left for dead. And now we see Kickstart decide to fall back. They say, this is not our option. Let's see what the circle says. Make our plays accordingly. You lose one, you bounce. Wildcard Gaming, very aggressive, but also very smart.
Actually, a really smart fallback there. But, ooh, looking at this, a lot of that southern coastline and the water is cut out. A couple teams do have compounds here, but the centralmost one is still empty. I wonder if anyone's going to grab that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So we see, okay, here's a pretty. So it is going to be a circle on the main island. Nova, MLGB, and WC try to be tricky and get themselves locked out, being held by Team 6, who's going to have a good spot there inside of the circle and on the bridge, potentially get a couple of free kills. There's a lot of rotations coming from the south side of this circle that are going to just have to, they're going to vector in together and they're going to crash as soon as they make it into the white. I think it's going to be a massacre over there.
Yeah, essentially the story is you're not going to get where you want to go. You're going to have to dismount. You're going to have to just shoot other people that are transitioning along with you. A lot of these guys are going to be forced to play edge rather than getting where they want to go. Already we see one player, I think that's Uncivil's, forced in this Wizard Tower. Meanwhile, a couple other players across the road, a different team crashing the other compound. These guys aren't really going to be letting each other move. Meanwhile, over here, Wooly, looks like there's a player in this compound that he spotted out at somewhere.
Yeah, he sees him hiding down here inside. There he goes. Opens fire, catches him, takes him out. Nice, clean kill. Still 15 teams, 51 people alive right now. So this is the part where a lot of singles maybe start to pop up. Good back and forth fire here. MLGV opening fire there. Once they saw that knock, they go ahead and try to, yep, there they go. So they saw him go for a loot, and they are paying the price for getting that little bit of loot greed.
Yep, MLGB actually on the bridge right now. They've fallen back from Wildcard. But Wildcard, they pulled back to begin with, but they're actually coming back to MLGB's old compound. Sadly, it isn't in, so Wildcard, if they take this route, will be forced to fight MLGB. Once again, MLGB have the strategically more sound position.
Yeah, no, Wildcard constantly finds themselves in these dirty bridge fights. I don't know if they just enjoy it or what, but there's a nice kick. A knock for knock, so Kick got one, but gives himself up in the return. So they're going to, both teams get to have the res. But like we talk about, in these sorts of fights, those early knocks are really valuable. Take away a helmet, as you can see Kickstart now operating without one. Take away the necessary meds, start to put people on their back foot. It's really, really important when we talk about the last circle.
Ashik got a kill on confirmed the kill that was gotten earlier. MLGB down to 3 players now. Wildcard, if they keep finding these tricky angles, there could be a push here.
Yeah, that smoke actually may work against MLGB, as Pride's going to use it to his advantage. He says, all right, you want to smoke? I'm going to play with it. He says there is no such thing as wasting smoke and makes his charge. MLGB looks like they may just try to go over the side of the bridge as they seem completely caught off guard. That's what they're going to do. Oh,
goodness. MLGB, it's really good that they jumped off that bridge because Wildcard was coming in force there. I think that was the only play they could have really done. And now look at this Wildcard coming out on top in a fight that I'm surprised they won, to be honest. And now, as long as they can get safely across this bridge, they should be in a decent spot across on Sosnovka.
Well, and they can also do what MLGB wanted to do, which was hold that spot. The reason MLGB had to jump is they were pinned. The guys in the houses down here that they just took pot shots at were shooting at them from the other side. So they were caught inside of a pincer. They had no choice but to go over the side. WC try to hold that position. Let's jump over to Chappie in the car trying to play the getaway game.
God.
Not going to be allowed to do so. Car just rolls on. Chappie's body left behind.
And now look, the remaining 2 players over here in this compound just have very few options right now. Literally 2 squads pinching this compound. They're very, very bitter that they couldn't get it themselves. And now D-Master, one of the many players, they're saying, all right, you can have that compound, but if you leave, I'm going to kill you. 2 squads taking that mindset here.
So here comes Cloud9, going to try to get themselves out of this one. Frolicker drives the car to a safer spot, goes for the peak. Now the tick is very, very relevant at this stage of the game. Look how fast they're dropping. Vexel happy to just sit behind the tree. Frolicker going to have to go for the heal after he changes the dinner plate. Forces the quick energy drink. He'll follow with a bandage. Oh, I don't know, that first aid kit. It'll get just in time.
Yeah, he's barely a couple ticks away.
And now he's going to try to make a drive and pull a Chappie. Let's see if he can have a little more luck than Chap did trying to make the same play. Nope.
Immediately dead.
Nope. So that'll be the end of them, presumably. So there's just no option for C9 to get out of this. Ashik is going to play the lead role as he comes sliding into the second car. I like that WC does this. I like to send 1 and then follow 2 to continue moving forward. They do have the circle, 15 seconds till the close. Or I'm sorry, does that say 13? Yeah, 12 till the next close grouping. So they're in a decent spot. Meanwhile, Wooly trying to get up to the top of the hill. They're going to set themselves up with a bit of a car fortress, presumably up there, but there's rotations coming from all sides as they walk into Dak Coco, who loves nothing more than spraying them down. He hears the cars come to a stop. He's going to try to find position before they realize that he's here.
They don't know that Luminosity is here. Came in. The cars are crashed onto these rocks. A couple of frags could do them all in, but will Luminosity even take this fight? It looks like Dak Coco is a bit far ahead of his squad, and they don't really want to take the 1v4 quite yet. They're actually leaving them there. Wow.
Well, they're going to use them as a gate, right? So that they know that they're there. They don't have to take shots because no one's behind them and they know that. And they can kill them at their leisure. It's going to work out for them in terms of letting everyone else know where they are and then defending. Vegas going to go for the grenade, tosses it out, but taking a ton of damage. Boom, boom, boom. Down he goes. That's a double knock coming out. Uncivil's going to have to hide as the nade does blow up, but it's not close enough to get anybody. EU in some dire straits based on these health levels.
Oh, yeah. United got pinched from the south and the southeast by 2 different squads. Now the WizWiki called the same spot that United was in, getting shot in the back as well. Render, I think, from Mr. Bloodport, if I'm not mistaken, here on the east side, trying to fight their way in from the edge. 2 the players in cars, 2 fighting right here. They always go for these weird split strats, but will it work? Looks like they're actually playing in tandem right now.
Yep, so Dash going to push up. They see the guys knocked. They're going to move around, try to finish the job. Uncivils has moved downhill. It's going to be a ghillie suit chase coming out now. Lots of kills, by the way, coming out across the map. And there he goes. Okay, Ox coming up with the peak, opens fire, loses the fight. His partner already gone.
All right, I mentioned earlier that Render wasn't great squad fights. They just won a 3-squad fight. I apologize. You guys are more than good. But something that we haven't talked about quite yet, Toffees, is that it's totality. They're in one of the best spots in the zone right now. And a lot of open terrain around them. A lot of these water boys will have very, very few options as further to go in here. And now look at this Uncivils. Lost the fight, delegated to a position in the water, joining the rest of the... It's probably a lot of solos in the remaining 14 teams. Once that water leaves, that is the threshold that teams must pass in order to get a good placement here.
Yeah, this is one of those water circles that is kind of a bummer just because there's no actual cover to come out. So this game is essentially envious, totality. Soltech, for instance, just sit here and take shots. There's a lot of extra guys, right? So that's Rex is over there sort of holding the ground down for his team. So a lot of these players are saying, all right, listen, I accept the fact that I can't win, presumably. That said, I can pick up a couple of placements because you have to take the risk reward. If you've got a 4-man squad, the water is not an option for you. You have to win the fight on land because if you do, well, you get to clean up everybody else. And those kills are well worth the risk that you get after you wipe out the other land dwellers, if you will. Jump over to Wildcard, who are still on the bridge, waiting for the next circle to establish itself. Wildcard taking shots all over the place, but playing very effectively for how badly their initial push went against MLGB.
So this is the zone. This is the phase that teams on the land must survive in order to outplay. Oh, okay. As I say that wasn't Biggie that got the kill. He just punched out in the air. It was actually Light Show of a different squad who got that down. Oh, if you're Biggie, your heart's racing after that.
Yep, so this is an interesting circle. It's not a water end, which is good. We didn't think it was going to be, so it's nice to see these players still going up. And what that's going to do is actually opens the door potentially for some of the beach players, because the teams who are still alive, those 4 group squad land dwellers, are going to have to move into the circle. So yes, we have Totality, they can still hold water, but they got to watch north because they're going to get crashed. The second they get crashed, all of those water teams come surging out trying to be first one to land, and presumably some of them may actually be able to make the transition. So that should be interesting to watch, especially some of these teams like I think Uncivil's still, no, he's still, but he's mine. So no, is Adam
Adam did, yes, they're on the same
yeah, so he
squad.
made it in. They made it in. So he's got multiple people. They can try to come out together. Mortify and
Oh.
Light Show have a chance to do it as well. That'll be interesting to see.
Gonna be a big player on the south side is Envious Caden specifically crawling his way in. 2 full strength squads over there on the far east. That's squad 7. That's Pecadores, a pretty good squad. Very, very balanced, very smart team. But do they even know that Envious is here? But based on their movement, it doesn't look like Envy. They're not quite in the white. They don't have much cover. Squad is coming in from their rear, though, so as long as they don't get pinched, there could be a pretty good fight here. But Soulcath, are they going to rotate into them?
Do you even snack Cunt,
Are they even going to make it?
I'm Big K. Now, he came out of the water, so they were making a hard transition. Soltech as well. They came out of the beach and have been running the blue line. Not a bad call. Uncivils brings the boat and hides behind it. Smart. He'll use this as a gatekeep play, so you can probably pick up a couple of kills before he makes his transition. Not a bad idea, especially if you know that you're in kind of a dire situation. And he looks like he's going to try to hold on to that. Frex doing something very similar, also hiding out behind the boat, waiting for his chance to push up.
Big question is, can they watch this entire shoreline? Looks like Envy not looking to take a fight on the south side. More players on the north. Ooh, Frax getting pinned down by his fellow water boy, and immediately dying for it. This is the point where all the players will be peeking from the water, peeking, shooting, dying, peeking, shooting, dying. Play zone, peeking, shooting, dying.
Yeah, so a bit of a massacre here. And again, they'll still be taking shots from Totality, so whoever does come out ahead will probably end up finishing behind. And most of the teams who are on land are content to just let that massacre happen. They'd love to be part of it, but if you don't have position, you don't have position. In fact, Purdy from Totality pushing out to the shoreline to make sure that nobody gets up and gets a flank position on them. I like this play. It's not a bad idea.
Something I'm noticing actually with the way that players are tanking this blue is that they're not quite used to the damage that they take. Mortify here, he knows what's up. He knows or at least how to not die to the first aid kit timing. But just look at what happens when the circle pops. It's going to do so much more damage. Actually, he's not even going to survive that wildcard spotting him out, gunning him down. But I've noticed a couple of times these guys have to be much more cautious with the increased blue damage than they previously were.
Woo! Wooly and the team right smack in the middle. This is going to bring us down to 6 teams, 22 alive. All of them land dwellers from the start. So they almost banded together and decided not to kill each other off until they killed the swimmers. And it's worked out in favor of getting them all into the top 6. So we jump over to Totality, who does have to push uphill into a couple of teams who are in decent fortified positions. They've used their cars to build these sort of like makeshift forts.
Envy hasn't shot yet here. Quinn going over here on the south side might spot Envy soon, but if you're Envy, and you haven't been spotted yet, I guess you kind of don't have to shoot. I mean, there's a squad right in front of you that's covering you, another squad making a rotation on the east side that might get into a fight soon. Envy could shoot the surviving winner of this fight in the back.
Yeah, and sometimes the better part of Valor is patience, right? Is the idea that you can sit and you can wait and you can make the play when the time is right. That's what Envious is going to choose to do. Meanwhile, Wildcard, not ones to lay back on their haunches, decide to play aggressively to go ahead and take the circle as they take the fight uphill, blow up some cars, and get a couple of knocks. Really clean play by Wildcard.
Totality actually helping as well from the western flank, so a big pinch going on to our perceived circle winners. You know, they're doing dead center, but they don't have the cover to really back that up. There could be a big flank coming out here from Wildcard as well.
That is what they're going to start to head up the hill. That uphill pushes some of the hardest in the game. Fog map not around anymore, so there's no longer a downhill advantage as they push up and try to get up over the crest. They're going to be getting jump peaks constantly from the high ground teams, however. Envious, by the way, is now been spotted and is getting caught in a massive crossfire.
Yeah, they're trying to abuse the crossfire. Now they're getting caught themselves. Totality coming in south. The problem is, though, is that now Totality has engaged 2 squads. There's essentially on every side of the zone a 2-way pinch going on. Yeah. Everyone just hoping that, yo, you take your 1v1, I'll take my 1v1, and that's how it'll go. Very, very awkward for pretty much everyone besides Wildcard here.
So Wildcard, very happily. I mean, this is this kind of game they like. Look at this. They're going to send Ashik out by himself. He's not being followed too closely as he moves up to the rock. I'm sorry, he did have one partner. So Kick going to move in as well. Now they've got vision. They know exactly where their opponents are. And they're going to go to town. Ashik actually just drops to a knee and goes for the 1v1 spray down battle. Dash goes to the return. And now it's a 3v3 as WC did manage to get that first knock. And they have the hill cover, so they shouldn't be interfered with on this fight. A second knock comes out. That'll be Pride on the ground, and that should open the guys up for a chance to push back against WC, who's now down 3 players. Ashik back to the open ground laydown, but he's getting flanked, and he's getting flanked hard.
Oh man, Render just with the beautiful rage right there. They're just playing that very, very well. Also not getting shot from the southwest side. Envious looks like they've gotten wiped as well. Totality making their way into the dead center. There's still one player up from Duel there in the dead center.
Yeah.
But with 3 players from Totality quickly encroaching that position, Pentalol, it does not have long for this world, I don't think.
You told me Render is not a great team fighter. I gotta say, they're a great team wiper then. Because
I'm
that seems
sorry.
to be what they've been doing.
I was 100% wrong there.
So they have been absolutely out of their minds with these team wipes, doing great jobs on rotations. Hwin trying to win for his team as he pushes around the outside, going to sneak up on Render. Sneaky, sneaky, crouchy, crouch. As he moves along the blue, looking to catch him inside the smoke. Set up the grenade. Rest of his team's coming. Grenade to the lead. It's a good shot, but they have already left the building. Elvis is gone. The grenade will let them know that someone's behind them. That may actually work against the guys trying to sneak up on Render. Totality, though, 4 men alive. Hold the circle like the Alamo. They're going to try to keep everyone out of this thing.
Render's going to get pinched. Look at this. Squad 7 coming in from the rear. If the fight started, all that Squad 7 has to do is to sit back. Render in a big fight against Totality here. A lot of knocks going down all over the place.
So that's me, a huge push, big flank play there on Totality. A nice fire from down below. Blown apart, pops up just in time to go ahead and revenge his friends, but that's going to leave them at 2. Vexel says, I'm here to play. Starts to move in. 2 teams left, 7 alive, but a couple of them are crawling. So Render has shown up, and they want to get down and dirty with Totality.
There's only 2 members up right now. They're trying to get the revive. This car forward perceived as good cover, but not at all a good spot to be. Purdy is going to have to do his best holding here with 1 player playing long Overwatch to the west, but the odds are very slim for their survival.
Absolutely. It's a tough order. To Purdy taking a lot of damage, has to go back and try to heal himself up, but he's being pushed from all sides right now. Vex doesn't see him. Purdy is just playing the low ground, but he is just wicked outnumbered. He's going to slide up to the burnt out car. Saw Vexel, goes for the shot, but gets peeked and deked as he goes down. Smithy, the last man standing, he's all the way down the hill, just inside the circle. He was sort of their standoff holdout player, and the guys from Render don't know where he is. Never mind, they do.
Oh, Caster cursed him, Toffee. That was mean.
I thought he was going to sneaky headshot to try and make it something like a 2v1, but it just wasn't meant to be. And the guys who apparently Seal doesn't think can team fight come out in spades with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kills. Excellent performance by them, and not a bad performance for everybody else. Totality coming in with a bunch of kills. Everyone else just performing relatively well in those last circles. So big shout out to all the players. Any last thoughts before we get ready for game 3?
There was actually something really funny that happened there. That car fort, that was a central spot of fighting for the entire game. Duel made that and immediately died there. Like, it was not a good spot to go to. Then everyone saw that, was just like, hey, there's cover, let's go grab that. And every single team that pushed that car fort killed who was there, then got shot from the outside. So Render making that push there might not have been the right play. Maybe they should have just avoided. That place was probably cursed. Well, it definitely is now, to how many people died there. Definitely being haunted by more than one team spirits.
Excellent. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We got game 3 of our 4-game series here at North American Auzom Premier League coming your way in just a couple of minutes. My name is Toffies. I'm joined by Little Fuzzy Seal and our Eye in the Sky Skyline. This has been fun. I know it's going to be more. This is your Thursday night, and I don't think I'd have it any other way. So go nowhere. Stick around. Right back with you.